Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Sam United People's TV here with, of course, the morning news show live at 10 a.m. Monday to Friday, running through the latest United news and transfer news. We're going to be speaking about Sancho. We'll speak about Luiz. We'll speak about the latest on Hojlund. We'll speak about the academy. You can let me know what you think, as always, in the comments. But I'm going to get started today straight away with some news, which I'm sure you've all just seen, and it's probably not me for six. That is. Diogo Jota's passed away after having a car crash with his brother out in Portugal. 28-year-old Jota, who's literally just got married like a week or two ago and has 3 young kids. Oh, mate, he's 8 years younger than me, man. That is like grief beyond belief news for his family and his friends. And mate, that's, I don't know what you say. I don't know what you do after that. I really don't. Mate, he's literally just got married. Got 3 kids. Mate, just live your life, man. I don't wait for anything. It really is true. It really is true when people say that. Don't sit around going, oh, I'll do that tomorrow, I'll do that next. Just do it, man. Really just do it. Yeah. That's, I don't really know what else you can say there. Absolutely devastating news for his family and his friends. Well, just devastating news. That probably knocked me for 6, that did. Probably knocked me for 6. Someone down there saying, well, it is, mate, it's just heavy. I don't even know what words you use to describe it. Seriously don't. Those pictures are like devastatingly sad. Man, my word. I don't really know what else you can say there, really. I will move on to the news, but yeah, I suppose just take a little minute and a moment to reflect on that yourselves in your own time and in your own ways. But yeah, if there's one thing I would say off that, it's just like, yeah, just don't wait for anything. Really don't. Because you have absolutely no idea what's coming up tomorrow. Right. Well, I suppose we'll get on with the news show. Probably not move 6. Probably be a little bit of a shorter show here this morning, because I don't just want to string you along suggesting that there's little bits of updates and news to run through. I'll cover what's been said yesterday on Mbeumo. I'll speak about the Sancho video I did yesterday. Have a little conversation around David Luiz. Douglas Luiz. We'll also have a little conversation around the laughable price tag of Ollie Watkins, which we'd already mentioned a couple of days ago from The Athletic. It's now being corroborated by the Mirror. And we'll speak about Hojlund and the academy, right? So let's begin. Let's start with the show. Mbeumo, which is somebody who, yeah, we're all waiting. I've maintained the whole way through, and sure, I might end up with egg on my face, but I'm completely confident that we're going to sign Mbeumo. But I wanted to, in an ideal world, get that deal done in time for him to come in for the first day of pre-season, which is Monday. So naturally, as I'm going away, and mate, just realised that, man. I'm literally, tomorrow I'm going to a wedding. I can't believe that's happened so soon after, man. But naturally, because I'm going away, they're going to save the here we go and the news, because this is specifically what happens every single time. But with Mbeumo, I just wanted to cover this, which sort of reports that were being aggregated around yesterday, around the 70 million bid and the 70 million price tag from Brentford for Mbeumo. And of course, we know what's happened so far with United. We put in one bid, which totaled 55 million that got rejected. We put in a second bid that totaled 62.5 million that got rejected. And now suggestions are that it's going up to 70 million. And then Laurie was like, hold on, you're misquoting me there. And for some reason, sometimes my voice gets real deep in the morning. I turn into Barry White. I've no idea. Should bring out like a crooners album. No bid. Well, no price tag of 70 million exists for Bryan Mbeumo. Although, I think that was the price that, when we were first linked with Mbeumo, I think that's the price that we saw. Mark is saying happens every time you go away. It really does happen every time I go away. So fully expect a here we go for Mbeumo to happen within the next 48 hours from around about 5 p.m. tonight onwards, because this is how it works. I still remain completely confident we're going to sign him. I mean, probably it's too late for him to be there on the first day at Carrington. Our first pre-season game is against Leeds on, I believe, is it the 19th of July? So that's the first game. The most important thing for Mbeumo to be involved in is the pre-season tour itself. I don't know what the delays are between the bids. Rev, I think that's pretty fair. I should go away once a week just so we can get deals done and things move faster, right? I mean, you laugh, but seriously, it will happen. Always does. I'm still confident we'll get him. I'm not particularly getting bogged down in the nonsense and like, oh, United are this and that and this. Just kind of step back from it a little. It's still the 3rd of July. Players aren't back at Carrington. The players are still on holiday. We're going to get him in. I still feel that it's going to get done for 62.5 mil. I just think United are going to have to be more generous with how much is guaranteed rather than add-ons. That's what I think. Because I suppose it depends on what's more important to Brentford. What do you think? Just a random question here to finish on Mbeumo before we move on and we speak about Sancho and Juve. What do you think is more important to Brentford here? Do you think it's more important that they get an overall package which is worth more money? Or do you think it's more important to them that they get more money guaranteed? So say, for example, if there were two bids, one was worth 62.5 mil and one was worth 65 mil. But the 65 mil one had more add-ons and the 62.5 mil had more sort of guaranteed. Which one would you think is more appealing? It's a bit like, for example, when United bought Xerxes, I think we slightly overpaid on his release clause so we could switch what the payment terms were. So we didn't have to pay as much up front. Kind of suited United more. And then Bologna ended up getting slightly more than his release clause. Let's see what you're saying down here. Russell, you think it's more in terms of the guarantee, night season, and Steez, you're saying the same thing. Cagozzo and Carl, you're disagreeing. You think more for the overall package. I think it's probably... I think they want more guaranteed, if I'm honest. Because right now, Mbeumo's at the peak of his value. United are signing a player. I suppose it's not impossible that Mbeumo comes in, like, absolutely wallops. I think he will wallop it. I think he'll be I'll just be famous last words and all that. All the misses that we've had in transfer windows. I just cannot look at Cunha and Mbeumo and think they're going to be failures. I think they'll be a success. I don't know what level. I don't know how good they'll be. But I just can't see us in a year or two's time looking back at a Cunha deal and, fingers crossed, the Mbeumo deal and seeing another Anthony situation. I just can't see it. Famous last words and all that. Loz is saying, I think they're just trying their luck because it's United and they know we want him. They're just trying to get as much as they can possibly get from what is going to be their record sale and probably will be their record sale for a long time to come. We looked earlier, I think not today, early this week, Ivan Toney's their current record sale, and that's at around about 40, 45 million euros. So the Mbeumo deal is going to dwarf that. I think the third bid will go in. I think it will get accepted. I think we just move on. And ideally, we still get him in for Monday, but probably unrealistic. Although saying that, maybe it will go through quick. This might be a stupid question. I don't think you do. Maybe you do. Do you need to get work permits for players who already play in the Premier League? Or is it just work permits for players you're signing from abroad? That might seem like a stupid question, but I don't know. Like in terms of, let's say, I don't know, say the bid goes in tomorrow and the bid gets accepted, is there a chance that it gets turned around in time for him to turn up at Carrington on Monday? Don't know. And I'm going to disagree with you down there. You're saying Mbeumo's a 50 mil player. He's not a 50 mil player at all. Not in the current market. He's definitely not. New contract or a new permit. It's nice to see that so many of you saying yes, so many of you saying no. So nobody really knows. Good. I've no idea. I'm still not worried about it. Might just be me though. Chidi, you're saying yes? I don't quite know. Right. Now, yesterday, it felt like momentum was finally starting to come into an exit, which we really need. Sancho is he your number one priority for the exit? You could potentially put Garnacho maybe as number one. Or for a lot of you, maybe it's Rashford. For me, it's Sancho. And it's not because of the money I think we'll bring in, because we'll get more money for Garnacho. We'll get more money for Rashford. But just the toxicity and the sort of poisonous attitude. That's why I need Sancho gone. Absolutely why I need Sancho gone, man. And yesterday I ran through it. It was, who broke the news first? Remember that Juve tried to sign Sancho last summer on loan. He ended up going to Chelsea instead. They're back in for him. And United don't want to loan him out, which of course is still going to be the sticking point. But the suggestion yesterday was, and that's why hopefully the momentum is now switching. The suggestion is that all parties want to get their deal done, a.k.a. the wages, finally. Do you think like the penny has finally dropped? Because like, let's sort of step back from the news a little bit here. And I'll ask you a question. Let's say you're Jadon Sancho. And you're looking at your options in front of you. You've rejected Chelsea, boyhood club, because you didn't want to lower your wages. You're not wanted at Manchester United, so you can't go there. There's no other team that's interested in you in the Premier League. You don't want to go to Fenerbahce because you don't want to play in the Turkish league, so you want to play in the top 5 leagues. Like at what point does what are your options? What are the options that you've if you're Jadon Sancho this summer, what are your options in front of you? There might be a Saudi club that comes in. Maybe. There might be a Saudi club that comes in, but you want to play inside one of the top 5 leagues, and so you're going to push that away. Fenerbahce want you, but they can't pay your wages, so you're not going to go in there anyway. Does the penny sort of drop? I don't know why at this point the penny's dropped. Seriously, I don't know why that penny didn't drop a couple of months ago when Chelsea wanted him. Right? Everybody in the comments who are joining in and saying, Sam, please pause, please stop, speak about Jota. Please rewind to the start of the video where we spoke about it for 5 minutes. Okay? That's all I'll ask. I still can't believe that. I still cannot believe that news. Literally 8 years younger than me. Literally just got married and has 3 kids. Look, Fabrizio, this isn't really an update. This isn't really an update. Tarquin, I really feel that that's part and parcel of what's gone on here. You're talking about the fact that he could run his contract down and leave next summer on a free transfer. I think that's, again, if you're trying to sort of put yourselves in Sancho's shoes and the conversation that Sancho and his representatives are going to be sort of having behind the scenes, they probably will kind of push back against any sort of permanent deal. Because if we sell Sancho on a permanent deal, that suits the club. Absolutely suits the club. We actually get some money in that we can reinvest. But Sancho won't want that. Sancho will want to leave as a free agent so he gets a bumper signing on bonus from whoever he wants to join. And he'll want that. That will be his priority. So it's going to be split here. What works for United, I don't think will work for Sancho. So he'll probably actively push to be loaned out and kind of kick back against anyone that comes in and tries to sign him on a permanent deal. Could well happen. Really is. A couple of super chats here. Let me read these out and then I'll head down to the comments. Rex is saying a deal means Sancho gets a loan with the promise of big wages when the contract ends. Juve don't sign permanently and you get United to cover the wages. United pay to lose Sancho. Yeah. As long as he's gone, then it's a win for United. And the compromise may well be that loan happens again, that we lose Sancho on a free transfer and we don't get a fee for him this summer. Worst signing we've ever made, probably. Certainly worst post-Fergie. Someone down there talking about Conrad Harder as our striker signing. Is he the one from Sporting? Was he the one that sort of was coming through just as Amorim was leaving? I mean, you could, if you want to, you can just look back towards Sporting and sort of former Amorim players. But I think a lot of United fans, let's be honest, are all stung by what happened with Erik ten Hag and just going after A, Dutch players, or B, former Ajax players. Now, that's not to say that you can't, at any point, like if we signed Gyökeres, wouldn't be like, oh my God, Amorim's doing exactly what Ten Hag did and just signing former players, because I think it would be a good signing. But that's why we've got good skill. That's why we've got Chris Vivellin to actually do the job and do the due diligence and find alternatives. How is Sancho worse signing than Mount? Isaac, where do I even start with that? I'll open the floor up. Anybody who genuinely thinks that Sancho's a worse signing than Mount, please explain yourself. I would love to hear the logic here. I really would love to hear the logic. You can be annoyed at the amount we spent on Mason Mount. Yep. Okay, well, Sancho was more. I don't really think you can question the professionalism of Mount at any point. I think you can be frustrated with his body. Yeah. And I think what you can be frustrated with when it comes to Mount, and this I do agree with, at that time, I understood the logic of us signing Mount because I understood the logic of where Ten Hag wanted to take this team. Two aggressive number 10s, one holding midfielder, press high up the pitch. I understand it was completely and utterly misfounded. It was never going to work in the Premier League, but I didn't realise that. So I understood the logic of it. Didn't work out. What United should have done was spent that money on somebody like Amadou Onana, the profile that we've desperately been missing. But anybody down here trying to, it's genuinely hilarious. And it's nice to see that absolutely nobody is able to try and suggest that Mount is a worse signing than Sancho. So it's just a good bit of rage bait in there. You crack on with yourself down there, Isaac. You enjoy yourself, mate. Anyway, I spoke about the three options that we're being sort of linked with in terms of swapsies. Anyone else remember Swap It Shop? It's like an old original kids website where you used to be able to like bid on getting stuff. It was like an OG eBay, but just for kids. And you used to swap stuff. I remember that. Akash, indeed. Happy birthday to the big man, JC himself. And yesterday was just so incredibly generous on his birthday. Isaac, you're saying it's not rage baiting. Some of you just don't like Sancho personally. Mount is financially the worst signing. We paid more for Sancho than Mount. Isaac, mate, you really, really don't like Mount, do you? Sancho is just an A-grade dick. All right? And if you're an A-grade dick, you're not going to get much support from fans. Like, I can be as frustrated as I want about Mason Mount. Do I look at him and think he's a dick? No. No point. Do I look at him and think he was a good signing? No. Sancho? Yeah, I don't know. He must be some sort of fanboy down there. Right, yeah, Douglas Luiz. Of the three players, it's easy. To me, anyway. Again, you might disagree. It's easy which of those three I would prefer, and it's Douglas Luiz. I just see Vlahovic being sure it's a new striker in. Sure, yeah, man, he might work for that. No, I don't think it would. I wouldn't bank on Vlahovic coming in and being the striker that we need in this team. Douglas Luiz, I could absolutely see. Are there concerns about his injuries? Yeah. Last season, he had loads of injuries. But it was the first season where he did have those. Prior to that, he had like 3 seasons without missing one game, I think. Douglas Luiz, the profile of him, tick, tick, tick. That's kind of what you're seeing being reported now out in the Italian press. And it is a profile thing. We're going to have to be smart this summer to be able to get everything done that we want to get done. A lot of it relies on player sales, player exits. We know that. Which is why I'm excited about that Sancho news. We'll speak about Hojlund in a little bit now. Rashford, if we go to the leaving whiteboard, updated it this morning, you can see there's only 2 that are in orange. That's Sancho and Anthony. Anthony, still, for some reason, Real Betis are doing with Anthony what Dortmund did with Sancho so far. It's not to say that Real Betis won't come in with a bid, but Real Betis are trying to lowball. You know what Real Betis want? They want to get Anthony again on loan for the season. It's hilarious to be to. They must just sort of be embarrassed with themselves going to the negotiations tables, like going back to United and be like, any chance we can have Anthony on loan again? It's not negotiation. You've had him on loan. You've seen the quality. I'll pay for it. You can't pay for it? Good luck. Stop wasting our time. We'll move elsewhere. And who else is down there? Rashford, Ethan Williams, Hojlund we'll speak about next. Garnacho. Are you surprised? A random question here. Are you surprised at the lack of direct interest that there's been in Garnacho so far? I don't really. I suppose attitude problems can be considered. Well, they definitely should be a consideration factor for any club signing any player. But I think Garnacho will be a pretty damn good signing for quite a lot of teams. I don't look at what happened with Garnacho this season under Amorim and think, oh my God, he's an awful footballer. He will never be good. I think Garnacho will leave United. and be a pretty damn good footballer elsewhere. I'm going to go down here and see the chat. You definitely must be like part of the Sancho family down there. I'm going to ignore your comments now. JC, you're saying no. Rex, you're saying no as well. Phil, you're also saying no. Some of you saying yeah. Garnacho is massively overrated. I don't think he was overrated. I think there are parts of his game where he definitely needs to develop, and we all know what the most important one is, and that's the clinical edge. Like Garnacho got himself, did it last season as well. It's half the battle. He got himself in so many good goal scoring positions, but just didn't finish them at all. I don't think he's developed enough. If you compare Garnacho from the breakthrough player to the Garnacho that we see now, I don't think the curve has been as impressive as it could have been. But I am surprised that there isn't more interest in him. Maybe it's the price tag. Don't quite know. But yeah, if we were to do any sort of swap deal with Juve, or maybe it's a deal that's completely separate to anything to do with Jadon Sancho, I'd take Douglas Luiz. I really would. Final question here on Douglas Luiz. Let's say I suppose you could still involve a price in terms of a swap deal. What price would you put on Douglas Luiz? I think it was 50 million euros, I think Juve paid, but because players went in different directions between the clubs, it wasn't actually that much that they paid up front for him. So I think they reduced the value of it by involving other players in it. What do you think is like a fair sort of conversation to have around the price of him? Colin, you're going for 40 mil. We've got Pixie, Karthiki, and Harshit. You're all saying 25 mil. 27 mil. I don't know. I've got absolutely no idea what value to put on him, because certainly his stock has gone down since Juve signed him. So you know full well it's less than 50 million euros. I'm guessing around 30. Or to be honest, I think a loan deal is possible. I really do, because it hasn't worked at Juve, and Juve's hit rate. You know, we've been bad at signings. We've made a lot of them. They do a lot of them. What wages is Vlahovic on? I swear he's on more. One of the other names that was mentioned on the list was Tim Weah, who I don't even know exactly what position he plays. He has played centre forward. He has played right wing. He has played right mid. He has played as a wing back. He's played in loads of roles. Fabrizio Romano saying that Marseille are now interested in signing him. I don't think he should be. I don't really think there was a player that United should have really considered, if I'm honest. Douglas Luiz seems reasonable. 30 million euros. It might be too low. I don't know. But we might be able to get him on loan. We'll have absolutely no idea. Eric, I've just seen there. Sorry I missed this earlier, dude, but I saw you gifted 20 memberships. Thank you very much for that. And the community thanks you as well. I just spoke for the community. Someone down there saying Luiz is not the type of midfielder we want. Yeah, he is. He absolutely is. He was a fantastic defensive midfielder for Villa. Very good at ball carrying. Good at being that engine and the athleticism in the middle. Aggressive in the duel. If I had a sort of a blank check, would I go out and sign Douglas Luiz? Nope. Absolutely not. But we don't have a blank check this summer. We have a limited amount of resources. And there are going to be certain opportunities that we could take advantage of. You know exactly what one of them was. I'm not saying that Ollie Watkins was the opportunity, but I said going and looking at Villa players was an opportunity that United needed to do this summer. And Douglas Luiz, of course, a former Villa player. That's completely irrelevant. But Ollie Watkins, right? I just want to run through this. This is coming from David McDonnell and coming from the Mirror, that United have turned to Ollie Watkins, and we already know full well from The Athletic that Ollie Watkins is being considered as a striker signing by United Now, Laurie Whitwell said if Rasmus Hojlund leaves, and I hope that it's not really linked to him, because even if Rasmus Hojlund stays, we need a striker, right? And the Mirror are saying down here about a 60 million price tag again. It is understood that United have held the talks. Villa would want around 60 mil for Watkins, and it's honestly laughable, man. Like, I know when it comes to the prices of players, that the price of a player is largely determined by how valuable he is to the club who's selling him, right? So it's not always just straightforward to put a price on a player. But this is also a player that, I mean, if you liked him that much and he was that important to you, you wouldn't have dropped him last season for Marcus Rashford for the games against PSG and City. So you're kind of shown that. Maybe he isn't as... Either way, 60 million. And I'd normally just kind of dismiss this from the Mirror, but it's because it says exactly what Laurie Whitwell did early this week. Villa saw a 60 mil fee from Arsenal. They valued him at 40 mil. And Villa still feel that Watkins is worth that larger figure and has 3 years left on his contract. It's just not... It's not ever going to happen, man. It's not ever going to happen. And that's what I mean. It's laughable. Like, you know, sometimes players, like, for example, you can disagree with it if you want. But I don't think that Brentford putting a price tag of like 65 million on Mbeumo is laughable. You might disagree with it. Jonathan, there's absolutely no way I'd even pay 50 mil. We already had this poll, I think it was yesterday, so we don't need to do it again. But £60 million is genuinely laughable. If United sat down at the negotiation table, I like to think that every club actually has like a negotiation table. Should we go into this one room? They all go. That's not exactly how it works these days. But United would just laugh them out of the room at 60 mil. It's almost embarrassing to ask that for a player who's 29, for a player who, yeah, sure, he was your main striker, but kind of left him on the sidelines last season when he got a player in on loan. 30 to 40. I mean, even 30 to 40, but I suppose that's not a... Would you be happy enough, hypothetical question, yes or no, in the chat? Would you be happy enough if United signed Watkins for between 30 and 40 mil, and then for the next 2 seasons he scored like, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20 Premier League goals? I think you would be. I see, and I've already explained why I see the logic of Watkins, and I'm looking towards Cheeto, really. If he is that guy, or even if he's not that guy, really, we need a striker in that can score some cracking goals for a couple of seasons. That's what we want. And then maybe in 2 years' time, we go either Cheeto's ready or we go big on that striker signing. Because this summer, we've gone big on the number 10s. That's where we're investing heavily. Which, again, makes me think that we're probably going to be looking at opportunities and maybe loans and maybe Douglas Luiz in midfield. And maybe all the money's just going in on scoring goals. I think we should be looking at a bloody goalkeeper as well, but I don't really know what's going on with it, Nana. We could do a swap deal for Garnacho and Watkins. I've already mentioned that. I think that should be floated as an idea. I really, really do. I think it should be Garnacho. No, it should be Watkins plus cash for Garnacho. But if Garnacho wants to move to the Premier League, and that's what we've read everywhere, I don't think there's going to be many clubs who are going to come in for him. Chelsea, because they sign everyone, possible. But I'd rather not sell to Chelsea. Arsenal, I don't think they're going to be going after Garnacho. I think they're linked with Eze right now. I think they were linked with Semenyo as well. Was that Spurs? Might have been Spurs. I think the idea of Garnacho and Villa should be floated. I should go after Schick, someone says down there. 40 mil maximum. It's not worth the money. I'd be happy enough if we had that for between 30 and 40 mil for a couple of seasons. Who bags some goals for us. Straight away, ready-made. And he's saying it's his last big contract. He'll want mega money. I don't even know what he's on. Whoever wants mega money is not going to get mega money. Yeah, well, 150 grand a week is mega money, Sam. Yeah, it is, but in footballer terms, which are very much removed from reality. I don't think anyone's going to get mega money at United anymore. I think the top level contracts are going to be floating around 200 grand a week, including bonuses, which for a club of United's size is pretty relative. We won't be handing out contracts like we did for Rafa Varane, like Casemiro, like Sancho, and Mason Mount as well. Man, the Mount contract's ridiculous. That's a bit I would agree with. Thank you, mods, everyone. Trying to keep the chat friendly this morning. Let's speak about this. Andy talking about Ornstein and Madueke. I saw that. Has that been confirmed? It's always confused me. Random point here. Random point. Always confused me why Arsenal and Chelsea have always been so willing to sell players to each other. I've always been confused by that. Someone down there saying, don't understand the hate for Hojlund. Huge talent, he loves United. Everyone protects him in his first season. Last one, the whole team was poor. Well, I've sort of explained my own personal position on Hojlund and any United player. And Onana's included in this. It's the second season where I will judge. The first season, I will always support individuals, man. Always. It's not as if second season I won't support the individual. But when it gets to sort of, I don't know, February, March time, I'm like, man, nothing has changed here whatsoever. Then my opinion starts to shift. Did the exact same thing with Anthony. First season, I think he got 8 goals. I know he was frustrating. I was like, well, he did deliver some goals, man. Scored some pretty big goals. Second season, nothing. No development whatsoever. By the end of the season, my mind was made up. I'm not as totally mind made up on Hojlund, but I think for his own sake, I think he needs to leave United, even if it's only on loan for a year. I don't know. But I don't think United's the right environment for him now. And we've done that as a football club. Partly. Hojlund himself could have been a lot better, but we've exposed him to circumstances and situations where I don't think he should have been exposed to at his age and with that level of pressure at United. We've got CFE watching from Boston. How you doing, buddy? Thank you for tuning in. Super chat there from Rex saying, I can see why fans think Mbeumo is lower. We sold Wan-Bissaka 15 mil, Alvaro for 5. Other clubs lowball United all the time. I don't even think it's just other clubs lowball United. We're just crap at asking for the right prices. I thought 15 mil for Wan-Bissaka was fine because we've got Mazraoui in 15 mil. So I'm still fine with that. We're just awful at getting good money. Like Garnacho. I don't know whether it will happen or not. Right? I don't know whether it will happen or not. But I could see United selling Garnacho for significantly less than we think he's worth. Can everyone look, lads, right? Mods, I can see everyone's coming in. Can you stop deleting people sending their condolences to Jota in the comments, please? All right. The idea of deleting comments is about people who are coming in and spamming and people who are coming in and doing this and that. You don't have to delete all of that. All right. So I can see it just keeps popping up everywhere. So just leave those in the comments. The only reason that you should be deleting stuff is if people spam stuff or people are abusive or if, I don't know. Yeah, don't delete people's comments when they're sending their condolences in, all right? Jonathan, you think Garnacho will go for 45 to 50? I think so. I think so. I hope so. I absolutely hope so. But I just don't know right now. Either way, Hojlund, and especially if this is correct, if United sort of being able to sign a striker this summer depends on the departure of Hojlund, then, well, he's definitely more likely to leave than stay. I don't think it should. I really, really don't think it should. I think we should be signing a striker regardless. Right, I'm not getting involved in just control the chat. All right. I can't do that and have conversations with all of you and do all this at the same time. As much as I enjoy multitasking, I ain't very good at that. Richard Rios is a midfielder that we've sort of been linked with this summer. You see Fabrizio here saying that Inter, among several clubs, asking for information on him. We go to the active whiteboard. Actually, no, the linked whiteboard. You can see how many bloody midfielders that we've been linked with there, and nothing's really happened so far. So whether or not United go in for Richard Rios, I don't know, but we were linked with him as far back as January. If I remember correctly, weren't we linked with him in terms of a January transfer move? I think so. Nothing's happened so far. No real substantial links with Richard Rios or too many midfielders. I'd probably say the Douglas Luiz stuff puts him quite high up on the list in terms of midfielders who have actually been linked with us. Ederson was one. There was a lot of momentum behind the potential move for Ederson earlier this window. That kind of faded away. Who else you got down here? Nemetcha from Dortmund. Yeah, that's another one as well. Hackney, there's not been any real links with us signing the lad from Middlesbrough, but they could develop. Ndidi, they were whiffy. Yeah, it's only really been Douglas Luiz and Ederson. Surprise, surprise, they want to raise Rios's price tag, link him to United. As I said, we were linked with him back in January. Frankie, you want me to remove Bolka from the list because he's going to Saudi? No, so the way these lists work, dude, is even if players end up... Look, Mastantuono's moved to Real Madrid. Cherky's moved to City. David's moving to Juve. We're not removing these players when they move to those clubs, but these are players across the course of this summer who have been linked at one point or another. It's there as a sort of visual reminder of the nonsense that is United's transfer window and the success and hit rate of journalists and newspapers linking players to us. I mean, the only player we've signed there is Cunha. He's not actually on the list. Should probably put that down there. The one player that we've actually signed isn't even on the list. Maybe it's because it was signed before we launched these. I don't quite remember. I thought this was an interesting little point to finish on. So if you enjoy reading up on the academy, I would encourage you to give this a full read. I've read some of it. I need to read some more of it later. This is from the Athletic, sort of talking about the head role. Obviously, United need a new head of academy because Nick Cox is joining Everton. There's a little bit of a crossover. I think Nick Cox is remaining at the club for a couple of months whilst we make that appointment. We needed to bring in a new under-18s coach because Adam Lawrence left. Looks like that's going to be Darren Fletcher. That's cool. And I saw this and I thought this was an interesting point, right? Jason Wilcox is instructing that the youth teams don't have to use a three at the back system. And I wanted to sort of get everyone's opinions on this because I know that there's sort of been a fair amount of energy towards the idea that every team throughout the whole academy system should be using that three at the back system so that when they come into the first team environment, they know it. But that would effectively be making Manchester United's entire identity into a back three. I think probably what's more important at academy levels is fundamentals, isn't it? It's not really about and this is why Amram was, I think it was multiple points last season. Amram was like you're all so focused on this, on whether or not we play three at the back or four at the back. I don't really look at that as much. He looks at more what the players are doing and actually just being damn good professionals, because if you are, you can flip between systems. You can be tactically more versatile. And people will keep having a go and say United are too stubborn. And I just keep saying we can play 3 at the back and we can play 5 at the back. We can play very defensive or very aggressive, simply by pushing the wing-backs forward or bringing the wing-backs back, which I think is tactical versatility. It's 2 very different systems through one little switch. That's what I think so anyway. Let me see what you're saying about this. Alex down here, what are you saying down here? Being a subscriber to the channel for you need to scrutinize the mods. Is the best community in the world. They shouldn't make it about them. And thanks for pointing it out. Mate, the mods have done an incredible job for a long time on United People's TV. I think what you'll go and you'll notice and recognize about different channels, you go into that chat and you try and have a conversation. You go in that chat and try and actually speak to people and get your comments read out and actually get some proper interaction. You won't get it. Not on the level that we have here. And it's not easy. It is not easy. All right? So don't just... And neither is it speaking about what we spoke about at the start of today's show. Mate, the mods are a big part of... So big up to all the mods, man. Nothing's ever easy. All right? Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up for today. I've got a rather busy day coming up. We've got the lunchtime video, which I will work to get done as quickly as I possibly can. Then I'm going to be... This is the last live show for this week. I'm traveling up to Stockport later for a wedding tomorrow. And well, fingers crossed. There's no huge breaking news, but that's what's going to happen. So probably at some point in the next 48 hours is going to get an Mbeumo. Here we go. And if that does happen, it will be covered on the channel. Don't worry. I have that video ready. And also, we've got a video that we've been sitting on now for about 2 weeks. The profile video on Bryan Mbeumo is ready and waiting. That'll be released. So there's going to be content on Friday, on Saturday, all covered. Make sure you do please subscribe. Lunchtime video on the importance of mods. That'd be funny. Rex saying the mods are getting stick, but they do a great job here. They really do. So big up to Ant and to Carl and to Steph and to Josh and to all the other mods who all help making this chat section largely a great place. All right. Take it easy, everybody. I'll speak to you soon.